Hi, everybody. I'm Cliff. I'm Josh's brother and Johnny's cousin. And I'm going to be out here today trying to start a bow drill fire off of the landscape using a moccasin string or possibly the twine on my hat and a knife that Josh made me. Pretty cool knife. So we're going to be looking for dry aspen or willow possibly for the fireboard and the spindle. And then, of course, tinder, grass bundle of some kind, and something for the bearing block. But we'll talk you through it as we go. It's going to be somewhat of a tutorial in case any of you guys are interested. I know there's tons of other videos on YouTube, but possibly somebody in our viewership is interested and just needs a little encouragement. So let's see if we can get her done. Okay, this looks like a good place to start. I've got some young dead aspen standing right here. Further up the hill, we see some what looks like decent tinder. We have to get some really dry grass type material, and I'll try to collect some of this and show you when I'm done. Okay, I have got a wad of dry grass here for my tinder bundle, and this one, the long stick on the left, is going to be my bow, followed by the bearing block. You can see the little divot carved out of it there. It has to be a green stick, and generally should be. The one in the middle is going to be the fireboard, and the one on the far right is going to be my spindle. And right there is some of my punk wood that I'm going to use for a coal extender. So I'll stuff some of this stuff in my shirt and keep going. As you guys can tell, it's really windy. This may not work. I'm going to put my back to the wind and do the best I can. The ground's been wet, so there's a lot of things working against me. There's snow on the ground, as you can't see any behind me right now, but just down off to my right here, there's a bunch of snow. I do have my buckskin wang tied to the top of my bow. I'll be tying it down here fairly tight because buckskin will stretch. This is how a spindle should look. Straight as possible. One end really narrow pointed, the other one blunt, but still with a point, right? Fireboard does not have to be fancy. It just needs to lay straight on the ground, roughly. I've got a divot carved in right here. We're going to do a burn in here shortly, and then we'll cut a notch into it. And obviously the bearing block, the pencil end will go in here and kind of dig its own hole. And I apologize, I got these modern glasses on, but I'm having technical difficulties, so I might just have to keep going. Dressed the way I am. The mustache is not correct either, so who cares, right? Okay, here we go. We're going to try to do a burn in real quick. Since the ground is wet, I'm going to lay my hearth board down on my wallet. My feet are wet too, so I'm going to have to try to avoid stepping close to my board. We're going to do one twist around this thing, bring it back towards my hand so I can hold it, put it right in that divot. Put this one on here. Now, need to brace your wrist against your knee. Right like this. You don't want it sticking out like this. You want your wrist braced against your knee. And we're going to start sawing. Probably going to do 60 to 100 strokes to try to get our burning going. You may see some smoke, but we're not too concerned with that yet. And due to all the less than ideal conditions, this may take multiple tries, may not happen at all. That's just the way it goes with friction fires. Yeah, I've got a little smoke. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and carve in the notch, tighten up this, and we'll get back to you. That's how that thing looks right there. Not too bad on the top. Try to keep it dry. Okay, let me show you guys my setup. Here's my tinder bundle. I've got the punk wood down in the middle of it. I'm going to put my coal, if I get it, right on top of that. Here's a few twig bundles to get my fire going. And here's my items. I do have my fireboard kind of set up right on top of some Oregon grape leaves, which are going to be my ember catch. Unfortunately, the wind is coming right from that direction. We'll have to see how it goes. Give it a shot. Usually going for about 100 strokes. Might have got this a bit tight. There we go. And hope the wind doesn't screw us too badly. All right, we've got a coal started. When it's smoking on its own like that, you know you got it. Try to get this dumped in here out of the wind. Now, these coals in non-windy conditions do last quite a while. I do have some smoke going, not sure if this one's going to take or not, but that's a pretty good setup. We can get another one if this doesn't work. From here, it's just like starting a flint and steel fire. Get this going and put your stuff on top of it and you're good to go. And the wind can even help once you got an ember established in here. All right, I think we might have won that one. It went a little tough going there for a bit. So that was a success, kind of to my surprise, actually. Especially when I had, I thought I had the fire going, and then the grass went out, which is some of you guys probably know. The grass can sometimes do that, but it had enough of a coal left in there that I was able to blow it back. But I was wanting some feedback from the viewers. I have not been able to find documentation that English or French, like frontiersmen, would have even known how to make friction fires. I believe there's scant documentation that some of the natives may have at least known how to use friction to make fire. But I was curious if any of you guys know if there's any documentation to tell us that colonists would have been able to do this or had the knowledge. Because I could see numerous cases where it could come in handy. Say you, on a day like this, when you discover your char is wet or too damp to take a spark, and I'm guessing a lot of those guys just suffered through it. But if you knew how to make friction fires, as we can see, even on a day like this with wet ground, wind, we got a small fire going. So was curious on any feedback on documentation for friction fire. I realized flint and steel is predominantly the method used, and I'm guessing they would have had knowledge on how to start flint and steel fires better than we can today, possibly using some chaga and things like that that are not charred. But I was just curious on any feedback on friction fire that you guys that are more studied up than we are. Um, any direction you could send us to find documentation as well would be great. So again, if you guys have questions, give me a call. I'm not an expert. I just enjoy doing this stuff. It's kind of a hobby. I would suggest if any of you guys want to try it, start out in your garage. No wind, a nice level floor. I did a lot of stuff in my garage. If you get an ember going and you already know how to start a flint and steel fire, you get an ember going with a friction fire, bow drill, hand drill, whatever. That's all you need. You're successful because you can take that ember, put it into a tinder bundle, and blow it into flame. So that's what I would highly suggest: is start in a very controlled environment. The main other YouTube channel I would send you guys to for some really detailed videos, a lot of knowledge on this, is David West, a guy that just does it for a hobby, and he puts out a video almost daily. So the David West channel has taught me a lot, and you guys can learn all kinds of stuff, especially on trees back in the East. Out here, it's almost too easy. It's almost like cheating because we've got the arid climate, and we've got aspen, willow, cottonwood, things like that. I'd stay away from pine and cedar. It can be done. It's just really tough. I would start with tulip poplar and willow and things like that back east in the Midwest if I was you guys. But anyhow, you guys got questions, hit us up. I will try to keep an eye on things. You can even message me on Facebook or something if you want. But it's been fun. It's a little frustrating I couldn't stay up there and cook, but I decided with the wind I didn't want to risk, a spark blowing off in the distance and starting a grass fire. So I put her out with some snow and got her stumped out pretty good and hung around to make sure no wisps of smoke were curling up or anything like that, and then grabbed my stuff and headed back. So we'll catch you guys later.